Have you ever felt like life just keeps knocking you down before you even get a chance to stand up? Yeah, me too. And if one more person tells me to stay strong or just keep going, I might actually lose it. Because here's the thing. What if you don't feel strong? What if you're tired of bouncing back? What if you've hit the kind of setback that doesn't just shake you, it wrecks you? People talk about resilience like it's some switch that you flip. But what if you don't even know where the switch is? Hey, I'm just like you. Someone trying to figure this out, and honestly, I used to think resilience was for other people. You know, the ones who just had it all together. The ones who could take a hit and keep moving like it was nothing. But then life happened, and I realized something. Resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about learning how to bend without falling apart. And sometimes bending feels impossible. Nobody tells you about the emotional exhaustion that comes with trying to be resilient. Like, sure, bouncing back sounds nice, but what if you're just done? What if you're so drained from struggling that you don't even want to try again? And the fear? Oh man, the fear. The idea of picking yourself up again just to fail. It's terrifying because what if you put in all this effort and it still doesn't work? No one talks about that part, the part where you want to move forward, but you're frozen by the thought of failing again. And let's be real. It doesn't help when it looks like everyone else is handling life so much better than you. Social media is full of people who seem to have cracked the code. They lose a job and suddenly they're embracing the journey. They go through a breakup and now they're learning to love themselves. Meanwhile, you're just trying to get through the day without completely unraveling. But here's what I'm starting to believe. Resilience isn't about looking like you've got it together. It's about deciding that you're not done yet. Look, I know what it feels like to hit the kind of low that makes you question everything. There was a time in my life when I failed big. I mean, colossally big. My company failed and I wound up breaking a lease on our rental house, moving my wife and 3-year-old daughter back in with my parents, and filing for bankruptcy. If I was going to fail, this was the mother of all failures. I had this framed poster on my office wall before I crashed and burned. It was about what Vince Lombardi said about what it takes to be number one. It was abbreviated and said NO1. And one day my little girl asked me, "Dad, why do you have a poster on your wall about being no one?" I didn't realize that poster was telling me what was about to come, and I would soon learn what it takes to be no one. At least, that's how I felt. I'd gone from running a 45-person medical practice to leaving it all behind to start my own land development company, and then, boom, out of my control, the economy crashed in the late 1980s. Banks stopped lending on rural property, and just like that, my business was dead. I didn't have enough experience to see it coming. I don't know who did. And I can tell you, those were dark days. I went from being the boss, the guy making decisions, to working temp jobs, getting coffee for people, answering phones, just trying to keep some money coming in. I had one temp job where I was repricing merchandise at a high-end boutique. I'm just trying to make ends meet, and they were importing cheap goods, marking them up by 400% and adding $100, and people were buying them. I felt lost, alone, afraid, confused, and completely depressed. It wasn't just the financial fallout, it was the hit to my identity. I didn't know who I was anymore. For a bunch of years, I just kept my head down and survived. I wasn't thinking about bouncing back. I was just trying to breathe, but slowly. I started to pick up my chin, and after a couple of years of living through that financial nightmare and mental anguish that I imposed upon myself, I had a realization. I thought there have to be other people going through this same crap too. That one thought changed everything. Because I had been in the pit of it, I had lived through the debt, the failure, the fear. I understood it in a way that no outsider could. And I knew I could help others who were feeling the same way. So I started a small company, a small nonprofit. I built upon what I could handle. I took steps I could manage to help others who were drowning in debt, just like I had been. My biggest failure became my greatest strength to help other people. Even maybe you. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't some grand comeback moment. But piece by piece by piece, I started to rebuild. Not just my life, but my sense of purpose. For the longest time, I thought resilience meant being tough, powering through, pushing past the pain and acting like everything was fine. But I was wrong. Because real resilience, it's messy, it's ugly. It's falling apart and then somehow, some way, choosing to keep going. And sometimes keeping going isn't some grand comeback moment. It's just getting out of bed, answering that next text, and taking the next breath. It's learning to be okay with not being okay and not knowing how it's all going to work out. It's reminding yourself that even if you don't feel strong today, you're still here, and that counts for something. Look, I don't have all the answers. I'm still figuring it out. But if there's one thing I know, it's this. Resilience isn't about feeling ready. It's about showing up anyway. You're more resilient than you think. Even if it doesn't feel like that. Even if you're still struggling. Every time you decide to try again, every time you take one more step forward, you're proving it. And you know what? Resilience, it's not daily positivity, not the toxic, just be happy kind of thing, but real practical ways to make your mind a little lighter. Hey, be sure to subscribe and like, because next time we'll talk about how to make that a daily habit, even when you don't feel like it. If this hit home for you, let me know in the comments. How are you getting through? And if you want some free resources to help you along the way, hey, check out the post for this show on oldguyinsights.me. That's me. I'm sending you a big virtual hug. You're not alone in this. See ya.